Now, this is the E-class tram cars, some of Sydney's famous jumping jack cars. There were 202 E's, or 101 sets, as we shall see. These came out in permanently coupled pairs. They were in effect an N car divided in half, and the reason for their construction was the conversion of the eastern suburbs steam lines to electric and the opening of the new lines out in the Bellevue Hill area. Now, the authorities were faced with a bit of a problem when it came to this particular part of the system. They had a reasonably high density of population, they had quite sharp curves and reasonably steep grades, and they needed a fairly powerful, commodious tram car to handle all three. So they came up with the idea of one large tram seating 90, and holding quite a few more than that, I might add, divided in the middle, so it rode on two single trucks. This enabled them to have 4 motors, unlike 2 motors in the rest of the trams at the time, and the flexibility to get round the bends by being divided, which we'll have a look at in a moment. These cars worked out of Waverley Depot mostly, and when the eastern suburbs was finally taken over by the O cars, these were banished to North Sydney, where they spent most of the rest of their life. These two particular cars being kept almost until the end as spare cars for the Neutral Bay line, because they were fitted with a special track braking system. Now we're going to move along the car and we'll have a look at the unique centre section of these cars, which made them quite famous at the time of their construction in 1901. Well, now here we show you the centre of the two tram cars, or the one tram car divided in half. You couldn't operate these trams individually, incidentally, because physically they were only a single car. So one had a compressor on and one didn't, so obviously if you divided them you'd be in trouble. So they were permanently coupled by means of a long coupling bar or drawbar, which was situated in the middle of the car. Now this was supplemented by a very heavy set of safety chains. Here Darren is showing us our safety chains. I don't think they were ever used actually, because I don't recall any drawbars ever coming undone, but nevertheless. The braking system was accommodated by two tubes which operated from one tram to the other, and that showed you where the air would go from one side. Then we had the electric cable ones. Now there were 4 of those, 2 on either side of the centre air cables, and finally up top we had a cable which allowed the electric lighting and the bells to be connected. So it was quite a primitive means of coupling the two cars together, as you can see, and you will notice a vast difference when we come to looking at our P-class tram car later on in the tour. Now once again, as we said earlier, the necessity to divide these trams in the middle was because of the steepness of the grades and the sharpness of the bends in that area at that time. Of course, since then they've been ironed out and they're nowhere near as severe as they were.